The COVID-19 pandemic further unmasked the magnitude of the structural and decades-old crisis globally. The pandemic aggravated the injustices affecting Indigenous peoples disproportionately. As global powers mount visions of recovery and building back, Indigenous peoples' existence asserts that the only way to move forward is to struggle for a sustainable, healthy, free, and just future.
On the 9th of August, the Indigenous Peoples Movement for Self-Determination and Liberation invites everyone to unite in commemoration of the International Day of the World's Indigenous Peoples and to stand with all the Indigenous peoples around the world as we fight for our future.
We aspire for the protection of the land and water as well as for fighting for land. We stand with the organic of Kenya and the organic of the Kenya, which is First Nation of the Pole Australia, the Konok of New Challengina of and all the indigenous people of their ascension for the genuine recognition for their land and territories.
We urge appropriate services for indigenous peoples in the fight for our health. Let us battle against inequalities and discrimination in accessing social services while factoring in best practices and traditional healing knowledge to promote community well-being.
Recognize Indigenous peoples as capable stewards of the environment for the fight for our planet. We repeatedly emphasize how crucial Indigenous peoples' participation in the discourse and actions against nature, pollution, and climate imperialism.
Nagapanawagan mi og paghunong sa mga proyekto nga nagaguba sa kainayahan pareha sa Jindam sa Apayao, sa Wabo Black Gold Mine sa Intan Jaya, West Papua ug sa Canrera El Porvenir sa Zompopero, katutubong kinaiyahan sa mga Chi or Tai.
We call for immediate release of Victor Yemo, a West Papuan activist and a spokesperson of PRP, the West Papuan People Petition, and other indigenous human rights defenders who are wrongfully imprisoned for their staunch position to fight for their land and their future. Next, to the criminalizations of Wet, Sweat, and Cordillera activists, the indigenous community members in Northeast India, Bangladesh, Indonesia, and Burma.
We demand justice. We demand accountability. We demand this from governments and corporations against the unlawful killings, criminalization towards indigenous peoples, rights defenders in the fight for our future.
Reconocemos y saludamos a los movimientos de los pueblos indígenas del mundo que se resisten a la explotación y a la opresión de las diferentes formas y persisten frente a la fuerte represión política para avanzar hacia un mundo sostenible, sano, libre y justo.
Mayelyang sa agin bongtin mo, sarisong nun, tudo mayelyang fatten ka, fenkyop lung, suk bitu bu songka, soknon ni mao. Bongtin mo, mutanchi, tiyikup mo song nun, kiduk sundong ka, azuk aryum lung non det bu ka, kayu adon atim to mao. Kayu sa bongtin mo, Rengan bu songnun kemor kejang mat bu pongrem nahantu flit lung non gad bu tetut kyo mao kayu sa zen nampu tunka bongten mu kok dong shong nahantu flit lung non gad shu kayu sa chen nam sa zon kup nyuthu nilen tunka kok dong lung nahantu flit gad shu.
With this unified vision of a better future we deserve, only then can the full enjoyment of indigenous peoples' fundamental rights and freedoms be genuinely obtained. We are encouraging everyone to join and be part of Indigenous people's actions during this month-long Indigenous Peoples Day celebration and beyond. Let us be one in the call for Indigenous peoples' self-determined economic, political, and socio-cultural development. Their fight is a fight for our future. Fight for our future.
Fight for our future.
Lucha por nuestro futuro.
Fight for the future.
Fight for our future.
Fight for our future.
We are fighting for our future.
Fight 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 for our future. Fight for our future.
Fight for our future.
Fight for our future.
Fight for our future.
Fight for our future.
Fight for our future.